included in the planned area. As I mentioned earlier, at the request of the mayors, particularly, Mark Mamatoff, our bond counsel, and the attorney who actually wrote the legislation for TIFs, went back and made an edit to make sure that those property owners, if they sell their property or if they want to develop something and they would like to apply for a TIF, then it gives this board the authority to say, hey, BB&J, we're not going to allow these TIF incremental revenues to continue to go and service your debt. It can now go and service their debt. So if Masengill were to develop something on that piece of remaining farmland, whatever they develop would be eligible at that point in time, that they can take the incremental revenues and service their debt. That's part of the language in here. So that's the planned area. If you go on down to area 4, what are the particulars in terms of the improvements in the application? And I don't know, does everybody get this? Application? Okay. They don't have it. You have an outline of what's included or requested to be included in terms of cost that comprise the $2.5 million request. Generally, you have this internal street connecting AJ Highway and Walters Drive. You have the traffic signal coming out of the area there next to Henderson Motors, where Ferrenta and Comer access directly across from Powell's. That light, as you well know, is going to be very close to the light on up where Cookout is and Taco Bell. Those are supposed to be obviously synchronized to provide better access to both sides, as well as hopefully safer access. You also have the construction of a turn lane that will be extended from where the city already plans to extend the turn lane on Walters Drive. The turn lane will be extended to approximately here. Then you also have the drainage correction that will take place, and that will allow for hopefully the collection of all the water that is presently running there and properly control that water. I'm on page 3. Let me back up and go on page 3, right above the paragraph 5. You'll look, there's a sentence up there that says, once the design work for the project is substantially finalized, the board and the developer will enter into a development agreement specifying the exact scope and the cost of the public improvements. So, all of the actual inner workings will be put into writing as to what will qualify, what the board feels should be reimbursed, and then a monitoring program will be implemented with Marshall and Jody spearheading that. Expected benefits, I think
the word exact, James, is not in there, Steve.
I'm sorry.
The word exact is not in my copy.
The exact cost or what?
The exact cost.
Yeah, I didn't say that it was.
That's what you just said, so I was just repeating what you said.
I didn't read that, John. What I read was straight from here. What I certainly alluded to in summarizing what was here, I said exact cost. In looking at the expected benefits, I think it goes without saying that we all, as part of our community, would love to have continued development. We've not had a tremendous amount lately. Lately, I mean in the past several years. It seems right now that we're trying to get the ball rolling and hopefully some momentum going in not only the west end, but also the east end of town. If you look here, in terms of the food city moving over, You got Bojangles there. You have a Gas and Go. I'm told, and I have seen, and even though they don't want to disclose all the organizations that they're in discussion with in terms of additional businesses, I think I've alluded to the TCBY. If you talk to Scott Long, who owns TCBY, he will tell you that if he is not able to move his business to a much better location, that he will have to close. You also have, hopefully, some casual dining that we do not presently have in our community that will be located there. If you flip over, I think page 4. On page 4, two things. You see a grid there, and if you'll hold your place and actually go to this particular schedule, it should be the first schedule after page 7. What's embedded here is just 5 years of what's here. We've tried to go out and forecast what the real property and personal property taxes would be over the next 9 years. The 9 years happens to correspond with the depreciation schedules for the tangible personal property. So if you take a look, also, if you hold that page, and I think the current taxes being paid, far left column, $22,779. On those parcels, and obviously a good deal of it has been green belted, the present taxes being paid is $22,779. The city and the county will continue to receive $22,779 regardless going forward. Also, the city and the county will collect any increase in revenue related to their debt portion of the tax rate. The county's is 16%. So any incremental increase, and I always use the example of $1. If taxes go up $1 for a county, the county will retain 16 cents. The developer will have 84 cents to use towards servicing his debt. With the city, it is 14%. So the city will retain 14% of that first dollar of increase. And hold your place there, and that is one of the things that I did. I'll just tell you, in forecasting and looking out what that would be, the county, over the first 5 years, the county would collect $109,000 and the city $61,000 of new revenue off those incremental increases. And back to this particular page, and looking at what the forecasted amounts are, and these are based upon a total project cost of $20,927,000. If you look at this, you'll see that the real estate taxes forecasted are, and again, these are what would be going to the developer, and you compare that to the current taxes being paid. For the city, forecasted $49,687, and the current taxes are $22,779. And I'm not going to read this to you. You guys can see as it goes out for the county, and then you have the personal property taxes for each, and then you have the change. The change on the far right, you'll see on the first line there's $124,701. That part